Yeah. It's dark in here. I did that on purpose because I don't have my stunner shades. Um, it's Shit Talking Sundays fitness tip of the week, and when I bring Vince the Beast on, you can understand why I got the lights down low, and I'm telling y'all to get your stunner shades on. Okay, so when you I don't want y'all to be blinded, so be prepared. We got some very important fitness tips today. What's going on? Blinded by all that trophy in the background, the light just glistening off of it just right. It's just blinding. All those trophies.
I thought you was trying to scare the people. Trick or treat coming up.
Nah, man, I'm trying to warn them up. That bright shine in the back, man. It's just all them awards for all that fitness that you've been doing, man. You don't see it. We see it. It's blinding back here.
It's just a little bar, man. Just a little bit dedication and
Uh-huh.
hard work.
Yep. So here we are, another day we need to stay fit. What you got for us?
Yeah, man. This is a real one, man. I mean, this is a good time of year to really hit on these, to talk about this, because it's this time of year, holidays coming up, like we're just talking about, trick or treat, Thanksgiving, Christmas, a lot of gatherings, a lot of food, a lot of eating. So I felt that this was a good time to really bring that home. I mentioned a little bit about this time of year, how the average person, the study showed, gains about 10 pounds in these next 3 months. So I just wanted to let people know and to kind of bring it home, to break down a little bit, get some understanding of how easy this can happen and why this happens. And really, hopefully, again, as always, try to create a solution, or at least a deterrent to this happening, so that the people don't come out at the beginning of the year and get discouraged when it comes to trying to achieve their health and fitness success. And then, of course, as always, don't forget, like, subscribe, share, comment, and donate to the show. Every little thing, everything helps. Again, this is free 99, as AG would say. So this is a great information that you can get for absolutely nothing but your attention. So that's not hard to do. We pay attention to what we deem important and what we find value in. So we hope that you find value in this program and all the programs on Shit Talking Sundays. But so I'm gonna speak about what I do on here on this fitness tip of the week. And compulsive overeating is the topic. And everyone has a weakness. People always, you ask people, and people like to know. One of the common questions, what's your favorite cheat meal, or what's your favorite cheat food? What is your go-to? What is your comfort snack? We all have comfort foods, and we all have things that, uh, and even Superman, in this analogy, everyone has their kryptonite when it comes to food. And what do you do, and how do you recognize this? So I wanted to break down. I wanted to really hatch and open up some statistics and some studies about this, to show, because when people think compulsive overeating, they think of a person that's overweight or even severely overweight. They think that's the only person. They think that average body builds, or even athletic people like myself, tend to have no weaknesses, or we tend to just be oblivious to all the snacks and treats and pastries that are out there. And everyone has a weakness. I have a weakness. Uh, I'm sure AG has a food weakness. We all have something that that we can say is something that we can eat this all the time, and it's usually not healthy. I don't know anybody that says, you know, if you get that broccoli near me, it's over. Like I can't control myself. As soon as I smell that broccoli, as soon as I see that green leaf, as soon as I see the green giant on the commercial, I'm ready to go run and grab some broccoli or carrots or celery. So when you think about compulsive overeating, things like that aren't on the menu. Um, but for real though, make sure that you have for this show, get a pen and paper, take some notes. I'm going to give you guys some tests, some quizzes. I'm going to educate you, and I want you to educate yourself. Want you to take a brief survey of yourself and really evaluate who are you really, and because that's the only way that we can really understand where we are and where we're going or where we want to go and how we're going to get there is self testing ourselves, self knowledge, understanding who and what we are. And it's one thing to talk about, you look at a profile on social media, or you look at a bio, or you go on teamfitnessmajor.com and you look at the breakdown. You see all the glamour, you see like positives, you see all the attributes. But we all have weaknesses. We all have things that we need to improve on and we need to work on. And it doesn't make it wrong or make you a bad person or anything because you have weakness. That's just what makes us human. That's what makes us whole, is understanding our weaknesses and trying to challenge to overcome them. You see the shirt I'm wearing right now. You see the great Muhammad Ali. He had, he always, like he says, I always believed I was the greatest, even before it even showed to fruition as far as out in the world. But even him, as you know, he had weaknesses. He had some demons that he had to overcome. So everybody has them. There's nobody that's immune to this. So I want to get into some numbers. Want to talk about, again, we talk about compulsive eating. So no surprise here. Like 50% of people that are over obese, according to some studies that were taken, and the last studies I've not seen was back in 2019. Um, I couldn't find any updated ones as of today, but 50% of the obese population are compulsive overeaters. Um, 30% of them overweight people are compulsive overeaters. But there's a 20% of people that are considered healthy that have addictions to food and can be compulsive overeaters. So I know they talk about this a scientific addiction and all that. We're not going to get into that for this show. But I just want to talk about the food addiction and the overeating compulsion. And you may be one of those people that have it chemically or genetically embed in you. That's something that you would want to speak to a doctor, a nutrition, a dietitian, really to just run some tests if you feel that is you. But a lot of people that are food addicts and are compulsive overeaters are the ones that just eat, something that they, it's not really healthy for you, that is going to hinder your ability to stay fit and stay healthy. So, but when it comes to food addiction, obesity, about 400,000 people yearly die because of an association with obesity. And of course, there's a lot of factors that go into it. Just like, diabetes has a lot of factors. It's not all the times it's just diabetes that kills you, but it's the things that created that. Well, the same thing with obesity. It's not always just because you're overweight that what kills you. It's all the things that you do in association with that obesity that you have come around to or created that that leads to this. So also more than like 5% in the U.S. right admit that they have a food addiction. It's still not that's not a huge number. And again, I wish I had more updated studies, but in all the data that I looked at, that was pretty a uniform deal. It was about 5%. 7% are women. Another 3%, then the 3% are men. So and for whatever reason, I of course again that's beyond my scale of practice, but it seems that women seem to be more, maybe because of the more women are more generally more emotional, the hormones and the hormone imbalances and all the things that go on in a woman's body opposed to a man. Again, I'm not here to talk about that. I don't know for sure. These are just the studies that I've read and researched on. 2% are under or normal weight people have food addictions. So again, those that they may not look like that, may not be overweight, or may actually be health out. And it's not in the fitness industry. It's not hidden or it's not a secret. But a lot of trainers are closet eaters. So closet eaters, food addicts. It goes in the same lump. So a lot of trainers are undercover, eaters like like junk food eaters, like they overconsume or they consume. And it depends on a lot of things, a lot of factors, your genetics, your fitness level, your age. It may not show or it may not show right away. But so again, this is not a thing about obesity and overweight people. This is a thing that covers everybody. So everybody, again, like for me, I would say my addiction would be like chocolate. Chocolate. I mean, I love to consume chocolate. I know, so I try to monitor myself. I try to monitor myself when it comes to eating chocolate, so I don't eat too much. Because if it's up to me, I could eat chocolate every day, multiple times a day. So and then so I know what my weakness is, and like even like when I was competing, I tried to have like a little baby snack. I would get like the Nature Valley bars, and my limit was one a day. So and then it was most of the time it was like, okay, that's fine, one a day, I'm good, I'm good. Sometimes I would branch into two a day, but then there were also times where it would be two and three a day, multiple days in the week. So then for me, I knew that I couldn't have those in the house, because if I did, I was going to start eating too many of them. And again, it's the little thin Nature Valley bars. It comes in a little two in a little packet. So it's not a big deal, but in the grand scheme of things, when we talk about people talk about cheat meals and we talk about earn meals, you know, you look at addiction, right? And most of the studies say that what triggers a response in these foods, to your addiction, to your food addiction, overconsumption, is either sugars, fats, typically saturated fats, and salts. I don't understand the salt aspect as much myself, but I could definitely speak on the sugar, and even for a little bit, you can speak on the fats. But those foods, they have like a trigger in the brain, and we talked about this on a show prior to about the sugar and stuff like that previously. But but it triggers in the brain, it triggers a sensation, and they say that it's like a same similar trigger to like taking heroin or cocaine. And anybody know anything about either one of those drugs, that it is is very dangerous. But people, as you know, that they are on it, they could take it, even though they know that this is a problem, even though they know that this um, can end their life. Even alcoholism, look at the same thing. They say once, people that are in AA, they say, once you've been an addict, you're always an addict. So it's a good philosophy to hold on to with when it comes to overconsumption of food. But here's the thing when it comes to especially like things like cocaine and heroin that are separate from food addiction. It is acceptable. It's very acceptable. Even alcoholism to a degree is, but people don't typically challenge a person that is an is a food addict or an over consumer of food because it's more acceptable, or they don't want to hurt their feelings, or they don't want to ruin the friendship they have or relationship they have. Quick story. I had a client that was talking to me about somebody they know and how they was really had it really bad when it comes to eating, like consuming a lot of the saturated fats and the sugars that I just was speaking about, and and they had a heart to heart with the person's significant other, and told them, like, and in not so kind words, but you're going to be the aid, or you're going to aid in the cause of this person's death. So what the person did was, because they were overweight, and they were kind of over consumer as well. That you tend to hang with people of likeness. So they was with that same they was together, obviously. So what they did was they went full on total 180 and just started going ham in the gym. Through, I mean, you know how you see on the a lot of like the Biggest Losers, or you see a lot of these documentaries, these videos where they throw the food in the trash, all the junk, they throw it all away, and they just start changing their life. You guys can see it in movies and stuff, right? But they actually did that, and they start transforming their life. And in a year span, they lost like 60 pounds, right? So then they started doing that to that person, and the person really, got mad, was getting mad at them, and it was not a pleasant thing for either party. And one thing I said to them, just like to think about, like, not necessarily to tell the other person or whatnot, but I'd rather you be here to be mad at me than to than for you to be gone, knowing that I contributed to your addiction, to your cause of death potentially. I'd rather you just be mad at me because I came to you, and I tried to help change you and correct you. I'd rather you just break up with us, break up this relationship, or be here and resent me, and then come back to me later on down the line, hopefully years later, and recognize that I was doing this out of the love and the kindness of my heart, than for you to pass away and me knowing in my heart that I didn't do anything to try to help you. So it's so important for us to understand that, and to really take this and understand that this addiction is a silent killer,
Mm-hmm.
because it's so acceptable for people to eat and overeat, and nobody to challenge that, especially when they see. I mean, this pandemic has really brought that to light, amongst other things, of course, but this really brought that to light. People sit at home, people eating a lot and gaining a lot of weight and getting out of shape and not doing more activities. So it is so important to understand why this is so important, and how easily and how acceptable this type of deal is.
Yeah, people start doing things. It's funny because you were saying, about getting on people about doing stuff. I got a friend I get on all the time. He's a big dude. Um, he could stand to lose a couple pounds. Um, and I think sometimes you get tired of hearing it and then you just tell people, yeah, man, I'm doing it. I'm on it. You know, uh, yeah, I worked out today. Um, but, to be honest, the only person you're going to lie to is yourself, because over the course of a month, maybe not a month, maybe like 90 days or more, if you keep saying, yeah, man, I'm in the gym, the people around you are going, no. Change starts to happen in month 3, where it's drastic changes, where you can see it's noticeable changes. And you don't really have to lie to kick it, man. If you don't want to get healthy, just be honest. Tell people I'm not into healthy lifestyle. I just want to die, man. I don't care if I die early. Um, at least that way people don't feel bad knowing we've been getting on you about doing it, because we want to see you be around us for a long time. And then we feel bad when, you know, you get upset. Oh, man, you're always getting on me and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, nah. Just understand that, your friends, if they trying to motivate you to get to the gym, they doing it out of straight love. Um, I got a friend. Matter of fact, it's a good time to do a quick little shout out. PenCorp LLC. You see, I'm wearing a special shirt today. Mr. 365. He every day he tells me, "Hey man, you going to the gym today?" And I find an excuse, but at least I'm honest about it. That I'm not going because I have an excuse, you know. And he said, "Well, it ain't gonna stop my shine." And he goes. He keeps going. Don't let somebody else hold you back from being healthy. If you don't want to do it, don't worry about other people. Sometimes lead by example. They will see the change in you. I know I have um, given a lot of people inspiration that have seen me. I was, man, when I say I was skinny, if you look at me now and say, damn, you are skinny. No, no. I am 165 pounds right now. But all my life until about 4 years ago, I was 120, 130 pounds. Okay. Graduated high school about 115, 110. Okay. So I was skinny. And now when I started getting healthy, eating healthy, doing healthier things, I gained weight. People saw a change and they started going. I feel better when I go. Uh, I have more energy. You will see that if you put your mind to it, the food that you're eating will give you the energy that you need to achieve everything you want. The slogan that I use was taught to me by Vince the Beast, and it's right there. Change begins with you. Tell him, Beast. Tell him.
Yeah, absolutely. You're speaking truth to power. So I'm in total agreement with that. And yes, and like I say, yeah, if it is so important to be honest with yourself, like especially with your family and loved ones about this. But then it's important for them to be honest with you and really share some of these things that I'm telling you tonight, and whatever else you need, because nobody wants to see someone suffer, and of course you don't want to see anybody you care about, pass or die. And but so we know, and we're in a society right now where pretty much everything is acceptable. It's acceptable to be this. It's acceptable to do this. It's acceptable to say this. It's acceptable to. All these things are acceptable. Just love yourself. Just be comfortable. And absolutely, always love yourself. But to truly love yourself is to take care of yourself as well. To truly love yourself is to take care of you. To to
What's up,
If
bro?
you understand that you are doing harm to yourself, things that you know are harmful to you, and you feel that, because you're going to feel that, and you still don't take the steps to get help, to seek guidance, to get support. You know, how can you really look at yourself and say out loud to yourself? I mean, you're gonna be honest with yourself, even if you're not honest with your friends, but you're gonna be honest with yourself, even on maybe even if it's internally, about how you really love yourself. I mean, and I'm gonna say for myself, I'm always looking to improve myself, and that doesn't mean that doesn't mean I'm not knocking myself, or I'm not putting down myself or saying that I'm not good enough, but I'm saying that I can always reach another level. There's always more that can be done. So you can always love yourself, but also be honest and say, you know what, I need to do better in this aspect. I need to improve in this aspect. I need to work on this. I need to work on that. It is so important, and especially when it comes to this, because like I said, people are, oh, it's okay. You can eat more. You can eat, you can eat what you want. You can eat all you want. It's your life. It's your world. It's you living your best life. It's about you. Do what you want to do. Yes, you definitely have the ability and the will to do what you want to do. But understand what you do, especially if it's detrimental to your health, if it's harmful to your body, has consequences, and um, it has the bill that's going to be paid one way or the other. And we're also in the world where it can just do the quick fix. I can go to the doctor. I can go to the Dominican. I can go to Mexico. I can go here. I can go there and get under a knife, or I can go get this tightened or get this wrapped and be okay. But that doesn't change the inside, and that doesn't change the mentality. And if you don't change that, you can do these little quick fixes all you want, but that's going to be short term, because that addiction is still there. That over compulsiveness is still there, and that's going to come back to light and take over again. Then you're going to find yourself back in that same scenario, or even worse, because you didn't take care of that step. And there's nothing wrong, and not everybody wants to be a bodybuilder or a bikini model. It's not about being that. It's not about that portion. It's about taking care of your health, and then doing things to help with that: exercise, proper rest, stress reduction, nutrition. Most of the time, again, not all the time. 75%, 65%. The goal is 75. But if you're doing 65, you're doing 70, and if you're at a good space with your all of your vitals, and your weight, and your health, and your ability to do things the way you want to do them, and the way that you need to do them on a daily basis, then that it should, for you and whoever else, that should be good enough. But again, I want people to understand that these are some of the things that we don't pay attention to, that you don't pay attention to, when it comes to, am I a food addict? Am I an over consumer? Am I an overeater? Uh, you know, Typically you become addicted and you lose control over eating, and find yourself spending more time planning most of your leisure time involving food related activities. You might have a friend like this. You might have a family member like this. You might actually be next to the person that's like this. Don't say nothing right now. This ain't the time if you. But if you are, or if you know this person, and I know people that know people, and that are, everything that they want to do, every type of event, either has to start, end, or start, have a middle ground, or end with food. And again, hey, I love to eat. I love to cook because I like to cook because I love to eat. I say that pretty often too. I like to cook and I love to eat because I do. But it's what they're eating and how much they're eating is what we are paying attention to. So if you know someone that plans most of their activities, most of the things they do, like hey yeah hey girl, let's hang out. Okay, cool. Well, I'm free. What you want to do? Yeah, let's go grab something to eat. Hey, let's go to the movies and then we go eat. Oh yeah, how about hey, let's go for a walk. Nah, but hey, if you want to meet afterwards, go eat. That's how a conversation starts. That's how a conversation goes for a lot of people, especially a lot of people that have that addiction. And again, it's not noticeable because we all have our own thing going on, and then we just don't pay attention to those signs, those little telltale. They also eat foods despite knowledge of adverse consequences. We just talked about that. Consequences like we that can hinder you or even end your life. So that's another sign that you can recognize. If you know that they are unhealthy to the point that where they are having to get on medications or go to the hospital because of this addiction, because of this consumption. Um, they also tend to find more. They tend to find people eating more, right? They tend to eat more and more while they feel less and less satisfied. So if you ever had a person that, okay, wow, we go eat, and then you think like, man, I ate pretty good. I'm good. I'm comfortable. Or me, I'm a little full myself. Like, first of all, I can eat more, but of course you're not saying, but looking at how much they ate, you're like, wow, how are you still hungry? And that's typically because they have that addiction. And again, there's a trigger in your brain that shuts off your receptors from your gut receptors to showing that you're full because you have basically overrode that protocol in your body. You have taken out that governor in your stomach receptors that says, okay, we're almost at the limit. Okay, we're at the limit. We're slightly over the limit. Okay, it's time to stop. They're able to basically shut that down, and they are eating more and more because they have they can't find themselves being satisfied. And a lot of it because of the foods I just mentioned, rich in saturated fats, rich in sugars, rich in salts, because there's no nutritional value. They're not nutrient dense. They are weak in all the index, the heavy nutrients, which that's what fills the body. That's what satisfies your body is things that have high nutrient dense compounds. That gives you that fullness. The fibers and the proteins, some of the healthy fats. Those are things that are fulfilling to your body that fills you up. So in regards to that, so a lot of the things that it triggers, because what it triggers is obesity, right? And what obesity things that trigger and obesity can cause is type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, high diabetes. Before we just talked about the sugar, high cholesterol. We just talked about the fats, coronary artery disease, fats, sugars, high blood pressure, salt, high salty foods. You might know somebody that puts salt on all their food. There's foods that have natural salts, and there's some foods that when you go to a restaurant, they put some type of seasoning salts or some kind of garlic salts or some type of salt blends already in the food. And then they still get the salt and get that popping it out. Strokes, obesity can cause strokes, sleep apnea. So people that have trouble sleeping. They have restless nights. We talked about eating late at night because a lot of times if you are one of those people, at night you're eating most of the day. So at nighttime you're hungry, so you eat, and then you go what? Lay down, and now you can't sleep because your body is not at rest. It's at work. It's at work trying to digest and dissolve the ingredients that you just put in your body. And because you're putting stress on your body, so your body can't properly rest because it's constantly in a struggle just to breathe, just to get oxygen, just to create blood flow throughout your extremities. All these things are triggered because of overweight because of obesity. Depression, of course, we know about that, and depression is another silent killer. But when you're depressed, you want to what? You want to find comfort food. Again, there's no comfort food in kale. There's no comfort food in squash or zucchinis. The comfort food is usually rich in one of the three ingredients I just mentioned. Osteoarthritis, joint pain. When you eat these foods and eat these foods in excess, you start to create joint pain because you start to create what? Inflammation. You have inflammatory foods, anti-inflammatory foods. The inflammatory foods, what they do what they're supposed to do. They inflame you. They inflame your joints. Now you're having this joint pain, cancers, reproductive problems. If you're a person trying to um, have children, it can disrupt that as well. Gallstones. If anybody on this show has had a gallstone, man, please type in, because I've never had one. I know people that have had them, and from what I hear, that's one of the most painful things that you can go through.
I've had
Is
kidney stones, and let me tell you, I had a friend who had twins, and when she had her babies, um, she said that shit hurt, right? And when she had stones, she said that shit hurt worse. So I can tell you that, man, stones is definitely not the route anybody wants. Um, I think we lost him. The beast. He froze up.
I hear you. I see that
There you
I
go.
don't know.
Yep, you're
It
back.
might be my end. I don't know. I know we've been having some issues earlier with connect stupid I'm not gonna mention the company.
Yeah. Yep. You're back.
But I heard most of what you said. I don't know if it broke up on your end or just my end.
Yeah, you're in, but maybe that's our cue. You got anything else you want to tell these people? Because Shit Talking Sundays fans, they always eager for, they're always hungry.
Yeah, actually, I do. Again, I told you to get your pen and pad out. So I actually have some questions you can ask. Person can ask themselves first and foremost. Maybe you can share this with your spouse, a friend, a family member, and you can dress it up. Maybe even do this kind of little play thing, or you can just have that heart to heart. And you don't even have to know their answers, but if you just ask them to ask themselves these questions, right? This is 5 questions right here, and one of them would be, do I end up eating more than planned when I start eating certain foods? And I repeat it. Do I end up eating more than planned when I start eating certain foods? Because again, it's not, when you're a food addict, it's usually not a food addict to everything. It's certain types of foods. It's select foods. It might just be one or two different foods. We don't know. But that's one question, right? Um, do I keep eating certain foods even if I'm no longer hungry? Sorry. Do I keep eating certain foods even though I am no longer hungry? We talked about that. Like, hey, aren't you full? Like, no, I'm good. I can still eat more. And and whole time for me, I love pizza. I can eat pizza 7 days a week. I don't, because I know that could be a problem. But I could sometimes say that I eat. Oh, well, I only got like three more slices left. Let me go ahead and knock these back. Even though I'm feeling good, or I'm feeling good from the inside already. I'm already good. Um, Do I eat to the point of feeling ill? So do I eat to the point that I'm feeling ill? That's another question. Do I worry about not eating certain types of foods or worry about cutting down on certain types of foods? When certain foods aren't available, do I go out looking for these foods? So you know how you're in the fridge, like, oh man, I'm out of so and so. Well, you're either gonna say I can wait, or you say nope, I'm out, and it can be 10, 11 o'clock at night. Or is it one where I go to the store, oh they don't have it, so I go to another store, and I go to another store, maybe even another store until I find it. Are there certain foods you do that for? So, and this is why it can be hard. It can be hard for someone to use like a cheat meal. That's what I brought about earlier, an earned meal, a cheat meal, because it could trigger a backslide. Like I said, once if you feel or if you've been diagnosed as like a food addict or some type of sugar addict or something like that, if you know that's your trigger, just having one can be a problem. It's not gonna be a problem in the now, in that moment, in that day. Oh, it's just one. It's just one cookie. It's just one pastry. It's just one bowl of ice cream. But it can be that spark that reignites the flame and triggers you to go back into the habit of eating more and eating more and eating more. Next time it's just a cup. This time it's just a couple scoops of ice cream. Next time it could be the whole pint. This time it could be one cookie. Next time it could be the whole slide of cookies. It can trigger that. So that's why I say, of course, I call them earned meals, not cheat meals. But you have to know yourself if you are able to really do that. Like I said, like with me with the Nature Valley cookies. Even another thing that was a problem with me, sometimes peanuts. Just regular raw, unsalted peanuts. But overconsumption of anything can be a problem. Even as little as peanuts, because peanuts are a good snack for the most part. They're not the healthiest nut in the group. Almonds, walnuts are better. But even with those, like I would eat like peanuts, and sometimes you get the little jar, and I get the jar on Sunday or on Monday when I go shopping. And there's times where that jar stretch out for a week, 2 weeks. Then there was times where that jar would only go 2-3 days. So you know what? I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this trigger now, right? So I'm going to not buy none the next time. I'm going to weed off of them. Same thing I did with the Nature Valley bars. Again, this wasn't easy. It was, I was very, very disciplined. So it helps, but it's not easy. But one of the things is I recognized it early. So if you let it continue to go on, or you continue to compromise with yourself, it's just there's little thin bars. They're just thin Nature Valley bars. They're not that big. They're not that much in calories. I mean, it's peanuts. It's not like they're salted peanuts. It's not like they're peanuts dipped in chocolate or butter. These are just raw peanuts. If you use that analogy, use that thought process, then yeah, it can trigger onto more. It can trigger you onto problems, and it can spark something more, maybe a worse snack or a worse meal. So that's why earned meals, I always say, yes, but I don't know, because of that reason alone. Um, also say, ask yourself these questions about your relationship with food, because it's about understanding that relationship with food and how it on your personal life. I mentioned some of that already. Do I eat certain foods so often, or in large enough amounts that I start eating instead of working? That I start eating instead of spending family time? Do I start eating instead of doing activities, i.e., going for walks with my friends, going to just hang out, play games with them, uh, do little mini activities? I'm not saying the gym. I'm not saying hardcore activity. I'm not saying run 5Ks. Just activities, just doing things that don't involve food. Um, do I avoid professional or social situations where certain foods are available because of my fear of overeating? We talk about potlucks. We're gonna, of course, some jobs might start bringing it back now, but think about the Christmas parties and the Halloween parties. I don't think there's Thanksgiving party, but the fall parties, the little parties like that, the little potlucks. Is that you? Ask yourself those questions. Have problems functioning? Do I have problems functioning effectively at work or at school because of food and eating? And there are people like this, that they can't do regular tasks without having food around them or without indulging in food. Again, it's important to eat. You have to eat to live, yes, but does that consume your every step? And like I said, there's people that eat throughout the day, all day, when they wake up, on their way to work, at lunch, after lunch, on their way home in the car, when they get home, things like that. So these are questions that I really hope that the audience can ask themselves, ask a friend, ask a family member, ask a significant other. Ask yourself and ask them these questions, especially if you see them going down that slope, going down that pathway. If you start noticing changes in their behavior, in their moods, their mood swings, anxiety, anger, depression, aggressiveness, agitation. If you start noticing these things, if you start noticing that they have gained quite a bit of weight, especially in areas that aren't healthy for you. If you notice that they are not getting involved with meeting up with you and doing things with you more and more and more, unless it involves food. Look at these things and really ask these questions. These are important questions because there's a lot of people, especially this time of year. Another thing, we talk about, of course, overeating, and we talked about depression. Suicides are very high this time of year for a lot of different reasons. Depression is high. It's in peak season right now because of different reasons. And people tend to spiral. And one of the things that they turn to is food. And again, I mentioned in the beginning how food and overeating food, especially junk food, pastries and pies, and cakes, are so acceptable, and nobody really challenges or questions a person for a lot of different reasons. Fear of a person lashing out at them, or fear of being the bad person, or being all in their business, or you know trying to check them, or whatever, trying to control them. This time of year is really high in these statistics because of the reasons I just mentioned. So it's so vitally important to look at these and really home in on these and really reach out and talk to people about these things. And then try to find help. Whether you do a buddy buddy and partner up, go to the gym, whether you just buddy buddy and start going for daily walks, whether you just whatever, whatever it is to help create a change in that pattern, and help them to recognize the pattern that they're in now so that they can create a healthier, better them, or healthier, better you if it's you. And that's all I got.
Mhm. That's all you got?
That's all I got.
Is we
Cotton mouth and
done
all.
or is we finished? Okay. Well,
I know this is a short one. I know.
hey, I always try to give you your due diligence so that you can make sure that all the people out here are well educated. So hey, well, hey y'all. So basically at the end of the day, eat, but not too much. Sleep a lot. Don't eat at late at night. And you might be a little bit healthier. Green is in on many different levels. So I see, especially out there in California, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, and some of those other places where green is real popular. And maybe we're not talking about the same kind of green, but anyway, health begins with you. Change begins with you. Vince the Beast, I'm thankful for you to once again this week bless us with some more knowledge for everybody who's in a 911 situation with their health. Again, I want to give a shout out to my boy Pin Corp LLC. Check him out if you need some financial freedom. That's why I'm rocking his shirt today, just giving him a little bit of pub, each one teach one. And check out our new podcast coming this Sunday. It's called His Story, History, HI, capital STORY. We're going to be talking about pagan holidays. We're going to be talking about who are the real people, the real indigenous people of America. And that will be Sunday at 3. Until next week, I'm AG the Dad, and that man over there is Vince the Beast. We will see you next week at 6:30. Peace.
Sunday morning drama,